So, what's good, YouTube family? It's your boy DJ Blessone with I Smoke Hip Hop Live. We gotta talk about something that's been obvious for a long time: how the media and these so-called journalists protect certain quarterbacks like Jaxson Dart, but at the same treatment is never given to guys like Shedeur Sanders. So let's keep it real about the biases that we can clearly see on an everyday basis. Now, these biases are merely projections from people who will utilize any excuse that they can use to take away from said sole quarterback and player who have established dominance on the field, a level of leadership, a level of skillfulness, but they take it away. So we're gonna go through today with stats and receipts about Jaxson Dart's preseason performance that's being blown up everywhere as a phenomenal performance. He's a future Hall of Famers. I mean, Glazers are just coming out the woodwork. Smash that like button, hit that notification bell. I'm your guy, DJ Blessone, the best one.
I've been broke so many times, I don't want to believe. Mama say it's my fault, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
So I'm breaking down reports and I'm breaking down situations. I like doing my due diligence. So now let's look at Jaxson Dart. The man's preseason numbers don't look much different from Daniel Jones or Zach Wilson. Two quarterbacks everybody already calls bust, but the media doesn't drag Dart. Well, Jaxson Dart, that is, like they drag those guys such as Shedeur. Why? Because they want to protect him and coddle him. New York Giants are already scared to admit they wasted a first-round pick. They don't want the benching because it would expose the front office as wasting a first-round pick. So what do the journalists do? They cover for him. They spin it. They say, oh, he needs more time. He's developing. He's just adjusting. I mean, you guys have to understand. These are the same mistakes that they would never give the guys like Shedeur. They would never let him obtain that level of BS excuses. But let's move forward with the receipt part and unsubscribe and subscribe again to this channel, because clearly YouTube sees you're spreading certain information and maybe they're not spreading the recommendation to all of you guys. So unsubscribe and subscribe again. Now let's get on with the things. As I'm looking on the media, everybody are having an overreaction from Jaxson Dart. The same thing that they said we're not allowed to have for Shedeur. We're exaggerating, but Jaxson Dart has been being overrated to say the least. Now let's break down his stats. Kenny Pickett basically threw for the same stats that Jaxson Dart threw for. Kenny Pickett in 2023 was 13 of 15, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 13.2 yards per attempt, 86.6 completion with 158.3 passer rating. I mean, fire. He played basically 5 drives. He scored 5 touchdowns. He earned a perfect passer rating. Could ask for much more than what we saw, and he still was hot garbage. But you people live with prisoners of the moment, and that's what I mean. Certain quarterbacks get hyped up, such as Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson, while we have to sit back and watch them tell us that Pat Mahomes is a 3rd-round pick, Lamar Jackson is a wide receiver, and Justin Fields can't progress or read plays, etc., etc. Rest in peace to Dwayne Jaxson. I could be petty, but we'll let that brother rest in peace, because what they did to him enough, he should rest in peace and be left alone based on what the Giants did to Dwayne Haskins. But let's look at the stats of Jaxson Dart. So Jaxson Dart final stats after 3 preseason games. By the way, look who Jaxson Dart played against. What level of second strings and third strings cab drivers. He had 32 for 47, 68%, 372 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interception, 47 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 80% adjusted completion rate with 1 sack taken where he lost negative yards. And my thing here is to tell you that looks awesome if you're looking at smoke and mirrors. If you don't understand football, then it behooves you to think that this guy guy is the best thing in the world since sliced bread. And here's where we get real. Not every quarterback is judged the same. Some guys are judged harsher just because they don't fit the image of what the media wants in a franchise quarterback. Let's not act like complexion and familiarity don't play a role with their biasness. Some of these reporters only protect the quarterbacks who look like their family members. They find every excuse in the book to defend these guys, but when it comes to the Shedeur Sanders, no excuses, no benefit of the doubt, just pure criticism and hate towards guys like Shedeur. Now look at Daniel Jones' stats, ladies and gentlemen. During his 2019 rookie preseason performance, he went 29 of 34 and was over 85.3% of completion, passes for over 416 yards and 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Now, people don't want to talk about that, but he had a passer rating overall of 140. That was exceptional, but I also critiqued that performance. I also got a video on this channel, go look it up, where I said this guy is going to be a bust. Many guys look good going up against cab drivers, but you have to look at the skill set when they play against the second strings and third strings. I knew Shedeur would have been great against Carolina Panthers second strings and third strings and fourth strings. So I didn't look on the typical performance I expected from Shedeur Sanders. What I did look for, his ability to handle the rush, his ability to handle multiple different blitz packages, while his team and Kevin Stefanski failed to offer Shedeur max protection the way they did to one that's named Dylan Gabriel. Because when you looked at it, Shedeur barely got any max protection, and play calling was horrendous at best. So when we're looking at it, there's a clear case where they pick and choose on how they safeguard a quarterback to their liking, and one that's not to their liking, they just throw you in the fire and expect you to be Joe Montana. And if you're not looking like Joe Montana, they critique you. If you do end up looking like Joe Montana, they still find something to negate from your performance that everybody understood was an exceptional performance. Now let's fast forward to more stats and receipts, because I only come with facts. I am not your best friend. So let's go forward. In 3 preseason tilts, Dart, who's number 3 on the team's unofficial depth chart, behind starter Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, completed blah blah blah. You guys could read that. My thing, I'm showing you the article, the same said so article. If Jackson Dart is performing so well, why not conclude this by naming him the starter? You know what you're going to get out of Jameis Winston, which is going to be a 50-50. He's either going to throw 3 interceptions, and in that same game of 3 interceptions, he'll easily throw you 3 touchdowns. With Russell Wilson, he's basically deteriorating through his athleticism that he used to have from the likes of playing baseball, being at North Carolina State, and his earlier days with the Seahawks. That's long past now, but Russell Wilson has a high IQ. He can process information, but according to you guys, he's not Jaxson Dart. So why not start Jaxson Dart? I mean, Jaxson Dart talks nothing but trash. Can you imagine if Shedeur does this right here? Oh my gosh, they're gonna say he's not. He has less character than Jaxson. He's not a good guy. But these non-melanated quarterbacks can get away with anything and everything. Let's continue to fast forward. So the article number 2 exposes a lot. It says, I feel like whenever my number is called, then I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play my game. Dart said of what lies ahead. That's just my mindset. Anytime I touch a field, obviously, Russ is the starter, and I'm done right there. But what's the point of glazing this guy and you're telling us he's the best thing since sliced bread? And that's the problem. Way too much glazers in the professional ranks of journalism. And let's expose some of them. You got guys like Justin Penick, whose job is to break down sports. He's a fake NFL insider, and he says, I don't think Joe should. Well, you guys could read that by yourself. I mean, the stat line of 6 for 12 and 3 drops, they're going to try to make it look like Jaxson Dart is not at fault. Therefore, he shouldn't take any accountability. No, it's not his fault. It's his wide receiver's fault. But yet, when it's Shedeur with incompletion passes, it's not the receiver's fault. It's Shedeur fought. So I'm showing you the difference in opinions or projections. These journalists don't really use professionalism in their works, nor due diligence to have intestinal fortitude. They go out their way to over-critique certain said soul players. Now, let's fast forward through this situation with more receipts. There's a journalist by the name of Mike Freeman. Now, Mike Freeman is with USA Today. I've been reading his articles for many years now, and with Mike Freeman, he gets the glazing. He's a liberal justice warrior. One day he's for the people, the next day he's conservative against the people. You might think it's him being non-biased, but this brother, man, is very biased. He's dangerous too because he's a professional victim while at the same time a step in fetching. And you see the glaze he's doing for Jaxson Dart. Now, Mike Freeman goes even deeper with the glaze. Right here, he comes out with the article. This rookie quarterback could be a star. Russell Wilson had better watch out. I mean, if anybody gets drafted in the first round, is it really hard to beat a veteran like Russell Wilson, who's very well past his days? I mean, the way Mike Freeman is putting it out there as if Russell Wilson is coming off a Pro Bowl career, at least from last season, and he just won a Super Bowl last year, and oh my gosh, watch out, Jaxson Dart is gonna beat you. When it should be easy for Jaxson Dart to beat Russell Wilson, but Jaxson Dart is behind Jameis Winston. He's behind Russell Wilson as well. How he can't beat out both of those guys, but you guys are going to continue to glaze and fall back from it. I mean, when I see these pictures of him feeding Jameis Winston a W in his mouth, I mean, pause. What kind of Diddy freak off action is going on here? I mean, it's good to see the camaraderie between two players. I like seeing this, but I don't like seeing that, especially we know who Jameis Winston is with W's in his mouth.
His buddy
you know what I mean?
For Peter Thiel, who's the CIA contractor. That's a lot of CIA. That's a ton.
I mean, I think you ate too much W's, Jason. Jameis Winston. Take a break, my guy. But now let's go to one who's also glazing Jaxson Dart. And of course, we expected it. No other than RG3. This guy over here, the glaze is incredible. The way he's showing the performance, he's not going in depth on who Jaxson was playing up against. But once again, the media and these so-called journalists were the same ones telling us, stop with this legendary stuff. Shedeur just had a measly game against preseason teams, undeveloped players who might not even make the roster, but yet, if it looks like Jaxson Dart, then it gets glazed to the max. And let's not forget what they really glazed him about. He had 81 yards in limited action tonight, but when you look at his performance, let's just be more honest about the performance we just witnessed. The 81 yards doesn't show you deeply what really happened. The receiver was the guy who actually had a lot of yak yards. Those are yards after the catch. So the receiver had about 50-yard gains from that pass, but they'll make you look at it as if he was precision, just dicing up the defense, and that's not the case with Jaxson Dart. He still gets rattled. He still gets timid when the blitz packages only sends two guys at him. I mean, make it make sense. With max protection, this guy still gets intimidated. He runs because he has no other choice, where Shedeur runs and takes off while still staying in the pocket and being mobile in the pocket, giving his said soul receivers a chance to look like the Pro Bowlers that they could be. As in case of Shedeur Sanders during his performance against Carolina Panthers, he had receivers who are not even on the Richter scales of looking as NFL receivers. He made them look like future Hall of Famers, but we're not going to talk about that, are we? Let's not forget Chris Sims, the hater of Shedeur, who defended the likes of Zach Wilson, went overwhelmingly out his way to tell us Zach Wilson will be a Hall of Famer. You guys can pause and read the receipts. In fact, if you don't believe my receipts, let's listen to Chris Sims out of his own mouth glaze Zach Wilson.
Here and just go, we'll get to Trevor Lawrence in a second.
That's the difference. Is there that transparency?
Zach Wilson
if you're transparent,
I'm
we
blown
can ask
away
the
by
question,
Zach
it gets
Wilson.
answered,
I
and we
feel
can
like
say,
I'm
okay, that's
back
good enough.
watching almost a
But if
Patrick
people
Mahomes
hide or
again.
lie
That's
or
how
they're
I
not
feel when I'm
forthcoming,
watching him.
that's where
It's
there's a
Aaron
little scrutiny.
Rodgers-ish.
So that's where I'm
It
at
is.
on that. I do think it's
Because
important to
people
look
are
at
going
some
to
of
take
those
off.
things.
It's amazing how he thinks that Jackson Dart looks like Pat Mahomes when Chris Sims was one of the many people, along with Todd McShay, who said teams messed up by trading to draft Pat Mahomes. These guys didn't even look at Pat Mahomes as a second-round pick, and it's funny how they're comparing Jackson Dart to Pat Mahomes. In fact, even Tony Romo, the scrub quarterback, was glazing Zach Wilson.
Said this about Zach Wilson to Jets.
I think Zach Wilson is going to be in discussion as one of the top 3 to 5 quarterbacks very quickly. Within the next couple of years, I think you're going to see him rise. I think he's unbelievable. His ceiling is so high. It's rare for me to say someone has the ability to get in the stratosphere of a Mahomes, but I think this kid actually has that ability.
To choose Vance as his nominee.
Isn't it funny how they're all comparing Patrick Mahomes to these scrub quarterbacks when they looked at Patrick as a scrub? Now, another guy who looked at Patrick Mahomes as a scrub was Gil Brandt. Now, he unfortunately passed away in 2023 in August, but this guy was the one glazing Daniel Jones, just the same similar way the media's glazing Jackson Dart. And we know the Giants don't draft brothers who look like Shedeur. This is a known thing from their organization. They just don't draft brothers. They might sign you to be token pieces of their organization, DEI hire, let's just be real, but they don't draft these brothers to be the face of their franchise. That Mora family do not like us, but Gil Brandt glazed the hell out of Daniel Jones, and you can see that Daniel Jones was always protected by these so-called experts. I mean, I like Mel Kiper, but even he glazed Daniel Jones.
Remind him his dad was in the CIA. What I respect about you is you talk to me. I have your number. I talk to you. I've been on streams with you. You're transparent. You said your dad is in the CIA. We didn't have to dig that out of anywhere. And to me, that's the difference. Is there that transparency?
Listen, Mel Kiper, you were wrong. He is going to be a backup quarterback, not even a good one. And Indianapolis Colts are about to find out. Your front office and coaching staff messed up by benching Anthony Richardson, who you're supposed to develop, but Anthony Richardson doesn't look like Daniel Jones, so guys like us would never get fair chance to develop. But if you look like Daniel Jones, you get all the years you need, which was 6 years Daniel Jones got to develop and still failed. Now, Shannon Sharp, who's going through what he's going through, he decided to call out a lot of quarterbacks, including Justin Fields, he called out in favor of Zach Wilson. Yes, Shay was glazing hard for Zach Wilson.
But I will concede this, Skip. This kid is extremely arm talented. He can make throws from different platforms. He feels very, very comfortable getting outside of the pocket, rolling left, rolling right. He can roll, open his hips when he's rolling left, open his hip, throw back. He has it. He has the goods, Skip. But I will,
and that's just what we have to go through. And Clace, and I know a lot of you New York Giants fans are going to get mad, but I'm here to remind you, while you're glazing Jackson Dart, never forget you're the same fans who lost your mind because you guys knew the truth about your organization when they draft these scrub quarterbacks. Remember when you booed Daniel Jones?
Does not seem to be gung-ho about Vance. So there might be something, like I said, I think Candace is different than Tucker, and they're both different than you. When Tucker came at me with that, I said, wait a second. He's calling me CIA. His dad is CIA. His friend Joe Kent is CIA. His buddy J.D. Vance works for Peter
So
Thiel,
I don't
who's
care
a
how
CIA
you're judging me. I don't
contractor.
care how
That's a
you
lot of
feel
CIA.
about me. You
That's
know
a
I'm
ton of
correct.
CIA
And that's
going on,
just the
and he
thing
lied
about
about what
it.
he
You
knew
know
about the
I'm
CIA.
purely
That's why I
correct.
say, okay,
Shedeur
sometimes
went
where there's
out
smoke,
there
there's
in his
fire.
very
So,
first
I
preseason game
100%
against the
agree
Carolina
there can be a
Panthers
tendency
and
to get
had
a
an
little skid
amazing
show, or maybe there's like
performance.
a
The man
low
showed
IQ
poise,
version of what we talk
accuracy,
about,
and leadership.
but I don't
But
think
what
I'm
did
wrong
the
about a lot
haters
of these
say? Oh,
connections.
it's just
And,
preseason. It doesn't
you know,
matter.
when you
Funny thing is, when Jaxson Dart played in his preseason snaps, those same reporters acted like he was the next Tom Brady. They didn't say, oh, it's just preseason then. No, they hyped him up. See the difference? You see it, y'all? That's what the media bias looks like in real time. And I'm just going to go a little bit more real for 30 seconds here. Bear with me. And that's why me, DJ Blessone of I Smoke Hip Hop Live, I'll always be non-biased. That's what a real journalist is. I'm not here to protect anybody. I'm here to tell the truth with receipts. If Shedeur struggles, I'll call it out. You guys seen my previous video. I've always critiqued the Colorado program when it called time for. I critique Coach Prime. I critique Travis Hunter, Shedeur, Kermani McCann. We can keep going. Dylan Edwards. Miss me with the fact that you think I'm your favorite media or content creator. I'm not. I'll call them out if the time calls being. Now, if he shines, I'll call that out too. I'll support that, but I won't sit back and let the media tear him down while making excuses for guys like Jaxson Dart. The hate against Shedeur is real, but the bias is even louder, and it's time fans stop ignoring it. Y'all let me know in the comments, why do you think the media protects some quarterbacks but destroy others? Hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to I Smoke Hip Hop Live, because we only speak facts over here. Salute to the real, salute to the trill. I'm always going to stand on business here. That's why I'm going to tell you this is bigger than football. It's deeper than football. Love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed, truly indeed.
I've been broke so many times.